Good evening. Dear African brothers and sisters, once again Africa is in a crisis. Only this time it is not a civil war, it is not HIV/AIDS, it is not the terrors inflicted by Boko Haram, it is the Ebola epidemic, a dreadful disease that threatens to destroy a huge part of our beloved continent, killing fathers, mothers, and yes, even children. Every day we watch as babies become orphans, women become widows, and grown men weep in the streets as they carry off dead loved ones, not to the cemetery where they can be buried with dignity, but to be cremated against our traditions and religion. Not only does this disease threaten African lives, it threatens Africa's economic growth and can potentially undo the gains we have made so far. Africans everywhere are stricken with the disease of fear. We all know Africa has always been the subject of bleak reportage by the Western media, with the Western media constantly bombarding images of Africans living in disease-ridden environments, killing and maiming each other in civil wars, withering from poverty, oppressed by their governments. Many Westerners view Africa as the dark continent, a continent of victims to be pitied, a continent of subhumans. Now, my African brothers and sisters, what disturbs me most is not Western perceptions of Africa and Africans, but Africa's perception of itself. How Africans have treated fellow Africans in the wake of this crisis. Africans from countries not affected by Ebola shun those who are affected. Those who have lost father, mother, sisters, brothers, children. Instead of being consoled, our Liberian, Sierra Leone, and Guinea brothers and sisters are publicly ridiculed. This, my friends, is the worst image Africa can present to the world, the face of disunity and animosity towards one another. In my mind, Ebola, like AIDS, while tragic, are opportunities for Africans to show the world what we are made of. Ebola is nothing to be ashamed of. I repeat, it is nothing to be ashamed of. For hasn't every other continent has its share of deadly viruses? Remember the swine flu? Remember the mad cow disease? And other inflictions other nations have suffered through. However, no other peoples have been dehumanized in their suffering as the African people. While we may not have West media corporations on our side, we are over 1 billion in population, and so our voices can be heard if only we open our mouths and reclaim the narrative. Today, I ask all Africans, from North, South, East, and West, and all friends of Africa, white, black, Latino, and Asia, to help eradicate the stigma of Ebola by standing up and declaring, I am West African. To give generously to the Red Cross, organizations and churches helping West Africa fight this disease. I call upon our well-known and well-renowned artists, Akon, Angelina Kidjo, P-Square, and other notable African artists to come together and write a song of encouragement and support of West Africa. Remember, Africa has weathered many storms, and the Ebola virus is no different. For there is no doubt in my mind, like my late father used to say, God's on our side. I'm Elizabeth Salai. I'm originally from the nation of Cameroon, and I'm now an American citizen, but I stand by this message encouraging my fellow West Africans to stand up and help fight and help reclaim the narrative that Ebola is just like any other disease. A cure will be found and it will save millions of lives. We only hope it is found soon. Thank you and good night.